Alright, so today we're going to talk about the stages of clay, the firing process, and how we get from the beginning to the end. Throughout this video, I'm going to show you a variety of images, including clay in its natural state, a variety of pieces of artwork, all the way through to a final piece. So let's begin. The first stage or form clay can be in is the slip form. In this format, clay is watered down into a muddy mess. This is great for connecting two pieces of clay together. I always call slip the glue of ceramics. In the photo, you can see I've created slip all over my hands by adding water to break down the clay. The next stage of clay is the plastic stage. This is how clay typically comes out of the box if you buy your clay. This is the workable and pliable stage where we can manipulate the clay about any way we'd like to. It's hard at this stage to show great detail. Strength and stability are at a minimum. The clay has a high moisture percentage at this point. You will notice it has somewhat of a grayish brown color to the clay body at this point as well. Once the clay begins to set up, it's called the leather hard stage. The clay is soft and cheese-like. This is a great stage to create textures, connect pieces of clay together without losing form, and to build forms up because stability and strength are gained. There's a lot of moisture in the clay, but obviously some of the moisture is left as the clay begins to set up and become leather hard. Once you've created a cup or bowl or sculpture, the piece must then dry out and go bone dry. This is the stage where we let all the water evaporate from the clay. The piece will go from brownish grayish color to almost a pure white depending on the clay body. Other clay bodies differ, but the low fire we use turns white. You can tell when all the moisture is left a piece by touching it. When a piece has moisture left in it, the piece will be cold. When it's bone dry, it should no longer feel cold. The next stage or phase in the process that clay goes through is the bisque firing. Once a piece is bone dry, you can place it in the kiln and do what is called a bisque fire. It's essentially a cycle the kiln goes through where it heats at a certain pace up to the temperature of about 1900 degrees. It then cools slowly down and takes about 8 hours to complete the firing and another 8 hours to 10 hours to cool. The next stage of the clay is the bisqueware. So the pieces went through the kiln firing. Once the piece comes out, it's vitrified, meaning all the water is evaporated and the clay body has went through this vitrification process and becomes bisqueware. If you flick the piece, it will ping. If you drop it, it will shatter. So the piece is now ready for glazing. The next stage is another firing. Many people are confused about the process of completing a piece of work and miss the fact that there's actually 2 or more firings that go into completing a piece. You first have to bisque fire, then you have to glaze fire. So after applying glaze to your sculpture or functional piece, you then put it back in the kiln for another cycle through. Finally, the piece comes out finished. The glaze cannot be wiped or scraped off. The glaze is solidified on the surface and the piece is complete. Thanks again for watching my video.